You don't need to be understood to be valuable. You just need to be you.
Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Guin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you.
Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today I want to talk about something that kind of caught me by surprise. And it all started with a simple question that I asked on Threads. And the question was, do you like abstract art? And honestly, I didn't expect such passionate responses. Some people, they absolutely love it, while others, let's just say they wouldn't be unhappy if it disappeared forever. And some were on the fence and saying that it depends on the piece, while others, they shared their own abstract creations with me with a sense of pride, which I loved. And I got everything from I love it, it takes me outside of my mind and my body, to I can't get behind it, maybe it's just not for me to understand. And there were even those people who admitted that they used to think that abstract art was for people who couldn't draw or really do art at all, only to later realize just how challenging and powerful it can be. And so that got me thinking, why do people have such polarizing and strong reactions to something as simple as paint on the canvas? Not to detract from the art, it is art. But isn't that interesting? The same piece of art that can move one person to tears, another just sees a mess. Why is that? Why do we all see the same things so differently? And more importantly, what does that say about how we see everything else in life? And reading the comments on Threads, which are yesterday were 173, I realized that our reactions to abstract art are not just about art. They're really about perception, interpretation, and meaning. And it's not just about what we're seeing, it's about who's doing the seeing. And what if our reactions to abstract art are really just reflecting back our own comfort with discomfort, or our own comfort or discomfort with ambiguity, with complexity? Think about it, because abstract art doesn't have clear lines or a definite meaning or a predictable outcome. And it's often messy and complex and open to interpretation. It's like life, right? Isn't it? And if our interpretation of art is this subjective, what does that say about how we interpret other things in our life and in the world around us? Are we looking at the chaos in our lives and calling it a mess? Or are we seeing the beauty in the complexity? Are we uncomfortable when we don't know and when we don't have all the answers? Or when others don't think like us? Or are we able to find meaning even when things aren't fully defined? So today, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the idea of how abstract art can teach us about mindset, perception, and authenticity. So if you think about it, abstract art is fascinating because it really does challenge our need for clarity and definition, because it often doesn't follow rules or fit neatly into a box. And there's no clear subject often, and no obvious narrative, no single right way to interpret a piece. And that's exactly, I think, what makes it so polarizing, because some people look at a piece of abstract art and they'll feel inspired. They see possibility, emotion, complexity. Others look at a piece, the same piece, and can feel frustrated or confused, or it even feels like chaos. To be honest, someone just threw paint on it, they'll say. But here's the thing. That interpretation isn't just about the art, if at all. It's about the person who's looking at it. It's about their comfort level with ambiguity and complexity and the unknown. And again, isn't that true for life too? Because think about it, life does not come with clear lines, a definite meaning, or predictable outcomes either. It's messy, it's complex, it's open to interpretation, just like abstract art. And just like abstract art, how we react to uncertainty in life says a lot about us. Some people will see uncertainty as possibility. They're open to whatever comes next, ready to create meaning from the chaos. And others, they see it as a threat. They crave structure and definition and certainty. And when they don't get it, they feel lost, maybe even resentful sometimes. And one of the commenters, the rat's pajamas, said, "I cannot get behind most of the abstract art. Maybe it's just not for me to understand." And that feeling of not understanding, it's uncomfortable, right? It's the same discomfort we feel when we don't have all the answers in life, when we're faced with challenges or setbacks that don't make sense, when things don't go the way that we want, and we're left staring at what feels like a chaotic mess. But here's the question. Are we looking at the chaos and calling it a mess? Or are we seeing the beauty in the complexity? Because just like abstract art, life does not have one correct interpretation. The meaning that we give it comes from us, from our minds, our experiences, our expectations. And I love what Abel 12677 said. She said, or he said, "Yes, it's great to look at and develop my own perception of it. It also has me ponder what the artist was perceiving or thinking at the time." And that right there is the power of interpretation. It's the understanding that meaning isn't handed to us. It's something that we create in art and in life, in everything. And if we're the ones creating the meaning, that means we have a choice. We can look at something and decide that it's a mess, a failure, or a disappointment, or we can decide that it's an opportunity, a lesson, a stepping stone. We get to choose the story we tell ourselves. I remember reading once that we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. And it's true, isn't it? Because our mindsets, they shape our perceptions, our experiences color our interpretation. The same painting, the same situation, the same challenges, two people can look at it and see completely different things. There was another commenter at @more_art design, and they shared that when they were younger, they thought that realism was what made art impressive, but that the older that they got, the more they've learned and have gained an appreciation for the abstract art. And I love this because it shows how our perception is not fixed. It can definitely change as we grow and as we learn and experience more. And most importantly, open ourselves up to seeing things differently. Like when you look at an abstract painting from different angles or in different light, you see something different. And the painting hasn't changed, only your perspective has. And so the next time you are faced with something that feels ambiguous or confusing or chaotic, ask yourself, are you seeing a mess or are you seeing a possibility? Are you resisting the uncertainty or are you open to the meaning that you get to create? Your life doesn't have to fit neatly into a box. It doesn't have to follow someone else's rules or expectations, and it definitely doesn't need to be understood by everyone to be meaningful. It just needs to be yours, your interpretation, your meaning, your masterpiece. And if other people don't get it, that's okay. It wasn't made for them anyway. That's what I like to think. And at Mr. Griffin 47 said, as far as abstract art, he likes it, yes, if it actually captures abstraction. It can't just look like nothing. I want thought, provocation, and poetic resonance. And isn't that fascinating? Because the need for a deeper meaning, for something to provoke thought, that is not about the art. That's about the person looking at it. It's about their need for resonance, for connection, for something more profound. And again, isn't that what we do with life? We look at events or situations and even our own experiences searching for meaning and purpose. We want things to make sense. We want them to fit into a story that we understand. And so if we can do that with art, why can't we do it with life? Why can't we choose to see a challenge as an opportunity for growth? Why is it so hard to decide that uncertainty is just another word for possibility? Why can't we reframe failure as a stepping stone to success? Another commenter, Dex Art Lab, put it this way. Something like, I feel like it's a free expression without a care, whatever you want it to be. And that's exactly it. The painting doesn't care what you see in it. It just is. And you get to interpret it however you want. And the same goes for life. Things happen, situations arise, people react, but none of it means anything until we decide what it means. We are the storytellers. We are the interpreters. We are the meaning makers. And that's a powerful realization, in my opinion. Because if we're the ones, again, creating the meaning, then we also have the power to change it. We can choose to tell a different story. We can decide that a setback isn't the end. It's just a plot twist. And we can decide that uncertainty isn't something to fear. It's really an invitation to create something new. Just like Abel 2677 shared, it's great to look at and develop my own perception of it. Because that's what we're doing all of the time, developing our own perception of life. We're crafting our own narrative, deciding what things mean and how we're going to feel about them. Because just like an abstract painting, life is open to interpretation and the story you choose to tell. That'll make all the difference. And when I read Carolyn Kwan, her response was, I used to be those jerks who thought abstract art was for people who can't draw, but now it's actually hard. And I couldn't help but smile when I read that, because that's such a perfect example of how people judge what they don't understand. And we see this all the time in life, don't we? When people don't get our dreams or our goals or our passions or our ideas, they tend to label them as unrealistic, impractical, crazy, or even silly. And we might do the same for others. But that's not about us. It's about them. Because here's the truth. People, their opinions are more about them than they are about you. And just like abstract art, we aren't meant to be understood by everyone. Not everyone is going to get us. Not everyone is going to resonate with who we are or what we do or what we think. And that's okay. In fact, I think it's a good thing. Again, just back to At the Rat's Pajamas, when he said, and I think it's a he, I can't get behind most of it. Maybe it's not for me to understand. The same goes for how people see you. You won't be for everyone. And again, that's perfectly okay. Because here's what I've learned. The more authentic that you are, often the more polarizing you become. The more you show up as your true self, the more people will either love you or hate you or just not get you. And again, that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's how you find your people. Because when you stop watering yourself down to be understood by everyone, you allow yourself to truly connect with the people who do get you. The people who resonate with your vision, your vibe, your story. And like I talked about on one of my previous episodes about being the niche of you, I like to call this embracing the niche of you. I forget the number of the episode, but showing up as who you really are, even if not everyone gets it. It's about creating unapologetically, living authentically, and embracing the fact that just like abstract art, you don't have to appeal to everyone to be easily understood, to be valuable, and to be meaningful. Somebody named @Scott's Tattoos commented, yeah, I've been doing it most of my life. It's a great way to express your feelings and thoughts that don't always have a solid form or idea. And isn't that what being authentic is really all about? Expressing who you are, even when it doesn't fit neatly into a category? Showing up as yourself? Even if people don't know how to label you or put you in a box? I feel like it's liberating, realizing that you don't have to be understood by everyone, that you're allowed to be complex, even a little messy, just like abstract art. You're allowed to be polarizing. You're allowed to be bold. You're allowed to be you. Because the truth is, if you're trying to please everyone, you know what they say? You end up pleasing no one, including yourself. And this is what I mean when I say show up as the masterpiece you are. Even if people don't get it, it's about creating your life, your art, your business, your relationships in a way that feels authentic to you without trying to fit in to someone else's expectations. Not every question needs an answer, and not every situation needs to be neatly wrapped up with a bow. And so what if we stopped resisting the unknown? What if we stopped trying to figure out and just let ourselves experience it without needing to make it perfect or for it to make sense? What if we just trusted the process, even if we don't see the picture yet, the whole picture? Another commenter, Mr. Griffin, 47, I love how he put it. He said, it has to look like something that has no set form. I want thought provocation and poetic resonance. And that's the beauty of abstract art. It doesn't follow the rules. It creates its own rules. It provokes thoughts, challenges the norms, and really invites you to see things differently. And isn't that what we should be doing in life? Again, challenging the norms, breaking out of boxes, creating our own rules. And so to wrap it up, abstract art, it teaches us to embrace ambiguity, to create our own meaning, to break the rules and to trust the process. And if we can do that with art, we can do it with life too. Because again, remember, you are the storyteller, you are the interpreter, you are the meaning maker. Your life does not have to fit neatly into a box. It doesn't have to follow a formula to make sense to everyone else. It just needs to be yours. Because just like abstract art, you don't need to be understood to be valuable. You just need to be you. And I guess so here we are, back to where it started. All from that simple question that I asked on Threads. Do you like abstract art? It seemed like an innocent enough question at first, but I would say the responses were anything but simple. And what struck me the most wasn't just the diversity of the opinions, but the passion behind them. The way people felt so strongly about something, again, as subjective as paint on a canvas. I think we can all see that this wasn't just about the art. It was about us, everybody who commented. It was about how we see the world, how we interpreted or how we interpret our experiences, and how we choose to show up in our lives. And again, I think about the rat's pajamas, plus I love that name. I can't get behind most of it. Maybe it's not for me to understand. And again, that's so true for so many things in life. We try so hard to make sense of things, to find meaning, to understand why things happen the way that they do. But sometimes the meaning isn't clear right away. Sometimes we don't get answers that we're looking for, and that's okay too. Here's what I hope you take away from this episode. Whether you love abstract art or hate it, or don't quite get it, I hope you see now that it's about so much more than just paint on a canvas. And most importantly, I hope you realize that you truly are the artwork in your life. And I hope that you will dare to let others truly see you, even if they don't get it.
That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.